Hi there. How do we simplify these complex numbers? We'll use these two relationships, these two equations. I squared is equal to minus 1 and I raised to the minus 1 is equal to minus I. So how do we simplify I to the 7th? Using indices, we can write this as I to the 4th times I to the 3rd. I to the 4th is 1 and I cube is the same as I squared times I. And this I squared is negative 1 times I, which gives us minus I. Next we have I to the minus 3. Well, we know I to the minus 1 is minus 1, so we can write that I to the minus 3 is the same as I to the minus 1 cubed. Now if we replace I to the minus 1 with minus I, we have minus I cubed, which is the same as minus I times minus I times minus I. Now I squared is minus 1, and this times this will give us minus 1. So we have minus 1 is equal to minus 1 times minus I, which is equal to I. Next we have I raised to the 9th power. Using indices, we can write this as I to the 4th times I to the 4th times I. I to the 4th is 1, so this is times 1 times I, which is simply I. Remember, in indices we add, providing the base is the same for each. We add the indices. 4 add 4, and this index is 1, will give us I to the 9th. Next we have I to the minus 5. Well, we've just done I to the minus 3, so we can write that I to the minus 5 is I to the minus 1 raised to the 5th power, which gives us minus I to the 5th which is equal to, so we know that I to the minus 1 is minus I, so we can write this as minus I raised to the 5th power, which is the same as minus I to the 4th times minus I, which gives us 1 times 1 times minus I. So if we split minus I to the 4th into minus I to the squared times minus I squared, which gives us 1 in both cases. And this, let me just got off the screen there, I'm sorry. Let's just write it minus I squared times, we don't have to put the multiplication sign, minus I squared times minus I. And this gives us 1 times 1 times minus I, with a result of minus I. I squared is minus 1, and minus 1 times minus 1 is 1. And so we get that for this and this term, which multiplies to give us minus I. I to the 4n we can write as I raised to the, oops, let's write that in the brackets, I raised to the 4th power, and that's raised to n. I to the 4th power is 1, so I raised to the power of n. N being a natural number will always give us I. So, my mistake. I to the 4th is 1 raised to the n. So, n being a natural number, this result will always be 1. Next we have I raised to 4n add 1, which can be written as I to the 4n times I raised to 1. We know I to the 4n is 1, and I to the 1 is I, which gives us I. So there you are. We've simplified these complex numbers by just using these two equations. I squared equal to minus 1, and I raised to the minus 1 is equal to negative I. Thanks for watching. I'm Alistair.